Okay, it's Friday, and it's time for another Soundview podcast. And today, my name is John E.K. I'm the host of this Soundview podcast, and again with me, is Mr. Craig Gordon. And we're talking about various topics, including health and diet and modern medicine and modern psychiatry and things that contribute to problems with health, diet-related problems and health. And I see, Craig, welcome to the show again.
Thank you, John.
I see you've brought some ammunition with you that we'll talk about, but before we start getting into all the nuts and bolts of this, tell me how you got interested in this field. I mean, what was it that motivated you to take up the...
Well, my mother was 5'4" and 300 pounds when I was growing up. 250, 300. Poor diet, lots of symptoms, lots of issues. Winds up with headaches, and for those headaches, she would take Demerol and Dilaudid, basically prescription heroin.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had a bypass done because she was heavy.
Right.
So they took a section of her stomach and put it over on the side and reattached her, and so she got a much smaller stomach. So she complains to the doctor, doctor, I don't have any stomach left. Can I have a needle? And so she winds up shooting prescription heroin for another 30 years. And so between that and a crazy girlfriend I had way back when, that used to turn directly into Lucifer after 4 drinks on occasion. I got a belly full of addiction and alcoholism and all the attendant behavior. And I'm just like, what's going on here? How can this be so ugly so often? And could this be an isolated incident? And I found out hardly. And so I started talking about it. I started saying, hey, and what's going on with all the sugar? Why is there so much sugar and junk food in our diet?
Mm-hmm.
And could that be the real culprit?
Mm.
And so what's, cause and effect, the etiology of addiction? What's going on here? And I started studying, I started taking classes, I started learning about it, I started talking about it and became fluent in it. Learned more and more and more and more. People send me stuff that, nobody hears about, but I hear about it because they know I want to hear about it.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
So, hence, I have all sorts of material that the public has no idea about that prove what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And we all are taking it on the chin and don't seem to realize it's a simple thing like starting with how grandma loved you with sugar.
Yeah.
And how sugar is related to love and affection and treats and behavior. If you're a good boy, good girl, you get your treats.
Mm-hmm.
And the only word I can think of is perverse. It's this perverse relationship between diet and behavior and addiction, and how we need to look at these things to begin to be effective at preventing them.
So, before I mention any of the articles that you brought, I've always wondered about the connection between alcohol and sugar, because if you watch people take a few drinks, there seems to be a behavioral change. So a lot of people, just get happy. With sugar, I've noticed that, particularly when I was younger, with younger kids, high school age, grade school age, when the effect was pretty quick,
Sure.
From a depressed little kid to all of a sudden a happy kid, So there's a kind of a parallel between the sugar and the alcohol. To me, I mean, is there a connection? What is the connection between sugar and alcohol?
Well, in this country, at least from what I know, I'm 68. I've seen my fair share, and I've been looking at this literally all my life. The sugar and the refined white carbs that we put away and we think is normal. That's white rice, that's white flour, that's wheat flour, that's all the, the baked goods you can think of.
Right.
All those baked goods and all the corn products turn right into sugar in your body
Right.
in literally 20 minutes. It starts in your mouth
Really?
with the enzymes in your mouth. Start breaking down starches into sugars. And then you get in the stomach, and now you're putting it in overdrive.
Mm.
And you wind up, there's really no difference between a big bowl of white rice or a white flour or a baked product and sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So the only difference is it's a delayed reaction.
Right.
And literally you go into sugar shock in a mild form that we think is normal.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about alcohol. Alcohol is severe sugar shock. So you got wine and beer is fermented sugar.
Right.
And liquor is magnified
And
sugar.
they use rice and corn to
Sure
make
they do.
boost.
Sure they do. Because it's cheap.
Yeah.
And they ferment it or they distill it.
Yep.
And you got booze.
Yeah.
You got alcohol. And alcohol is a shock to the system. Now, we perceive that shock many times as feeling good.
Right.
And then, we think we deserve it. You think you'll work a long day. Here we go. We're going to unload a little bit. We're going to loosen up a little bit. We're going to get social. So we're going to have a cocktail or two.
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Can't fly on one wing. Got to have some beers. And then
The sun has passed the yard on.
then, we wind up with a situation right now where literally I estimate between 70 and 80 million people drink to get drunk or binge drink at least once a month.
Mm-hmm.
70 to 80 million people. And it could be a bit higher.
I bet it is.
So, and out of those, say, 90 million people, that's 30 million people that are driving drunk every month. And so out of that, we look, kids talk to me about alcoholism. They don't have any idea. And you talk about how literally 1 out of 3 or 4 out of 10 people are going to be involved in a DUI in their lifetime. That's, 3 members of a family or a family of 6. There's either 1 or 2 that are going to be in a DUI in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Scary as hell.
Yeah. And
then all that sugar promotes disease because it suppresses your immune system.
Yeah.
So again, you're going in the chute, and the shoe's dropping. It's just nice and quiet. You don't hear it.
Yeah.
But it elicits behaviors and isms and addictions and all sorts of things that half the time are big trouble, but they're suppressed and they're normal, and it's legal to drink alcohol, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So,
you ever watch TikTok videos?
Sure.
Okay. Have you noticed, I don't know, the algorithm is kind of tailored to your interest and things like that, but have you noticed in your feed, because I certainly notice in mine, I get a lot of these, what I refer to them as snake oil salesmen. It's like vitamins, or there's like a hangover cure. There
For
is
anything.
NADs, and I mean stuff I can't even, I don't. One of the big things is like beetroot extract. Is a big thing. I mean, what do you think about those?
Be honest with you, I'm tempted to try a couple of those things myself.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I'm 68. I've got a couple of issues I'd like to, improve upon.
Right.
I get a lot of exercise. I get a lot of clean food.
Yeah.
I try to have very little sugar.
Right.
That's 10 grams a day.
Right.
Maybe 15. So I keep it way down.
But you have to know the science behind what you're looking at, what they're selling, which is not readily available on TikTok. You have to do your own research to find out.
Well,
stuff,
I get a feed with LinkedIn and with Facebook and with this and that. I just like all of a sudden it's there on your screen.
Yeah.
On your phone, like, okay.
Yeah. When you're
And
talking about it or thinking about it, and it shows up.
Yeah. It could be
crazy.
almost anything.
Yeah.
That they want to help you, handle.
Yeah.
From tinnitus to, men's issues to, mental health issues to your memory, blah, 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 blah. It
Right.
goes on and on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're making money. They're making
Yeah,
money.
well, that's-
Some of it is probably good. A lot of it is kind of so-so.
Yeah.
Do we sabotage the results with our typical intake? Probably. Now, sedentary lifestyles are just as bad as smoking.
Mm-hmm.
So, people aren't getting the exercise or the oxygen they need to circulate, hopefully, healthy food, vitamins, minerals, trace elements through their body, through their blood, to their extremities, particularly their brain, so that everything kind of works properly.
Yeah.
So that you remain functional and relevant.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Well, let's delve into some of these articles, because this first one, the title caught my eye: Confectionery Consumption in Childhood and Adult Violence. And so this, this article's from the British Journal of Psychiatry, 2009, but it's a study, and you were, before we went live, you were telling me a little bit about this. The number of subjects in this study was, what was it, 17,000 or something?
17,500 people studied from birth till they were 37 years old, approximately.
Okay, so this is a very extensive study.
Oh, this is massive stuff. This is like the China study, a little smaller, but it's big. And so you study that many people, and these are all the scientific protocols, all the right questions. They studied them. They studied them again. They did 7 huge data gatherings over the course of that 37 years.
Yeah.
And then they were looking at, what you eat and behaviors and isms and all the usual stuff. And they found out the summary was, you want to read the summary?
Yeah, I could read the entire thing, or I can read this one sentence here. Let me just read this sentence, and you can tell me if I should read the whole thing. But it says, children who ate confectionery daily at age 10 years were significantly more likely to have been convicted for violence at age 34 years, a relationship that was robust when controlling for ecological and individual factors. So there's obviously a lot of data here. As you go more into the article, it has...
well, that's just the 2-page summary.
In the results here, it says overall 69% of respondents who were violent by the age 34 years reported that they ate confectionery nearly every day during childhood.
Right. Confectionery meaning sugar and treats and sugar-laden, food stuffs, whatever you want to call it, or substances.
I believe in England they're called biscuits.
Biscuits, well, that's more white flour.
Yeah.
What does that turn into? White sugar.
We call them cookies.
Yeah, right.
Like chocolate chip cookies are my favorite, but it's the quantity and the daily use. But my doctor told me to cut my sugar back, and I've noticed that just in the last year, I don't have any cravings anymore.
Good.
I used
That's
to finish a meal and then I'd have to have dessert.
Right.
I don't want dessert anymore. It's like stark difference between what I used to be.
If you gotta have dessert, have a little piece of fruit.
Yeah.
Have something small. I try to help people understand they need to wean their palates away from sweet.
Mm-hmm.
If you have something sweet today at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, guess what you're going to want tomorrow at 3 o'clock?
Exactly.
That's after dinner, that's for breakfast, that's whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you wean your palate away from sweet, and you're ahead of it. It makes it easy to give up sugar and sugary drinks, as Barbara would say. With what I call soda, the soda and all the juice drinks that are loaded with sugar.
Yeah.
And we get in trouble with those.
Oh, big time.
And they're already pre-digested. So you drink it, boom, your blood sugar goes way up and drops like a rock, and so does your brain. Hyper, depressed, hurry up, wait, happy, sad. And that's why there was so much violence in kids that ate a lot of sugar. It's not hard to figure out. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, Yeah. It's getting off of sugar. It may seem like a really hard thing to do, but like you said, the fruit, that it's sweet,
A
but
little bit. A little bit.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But the substitute, it for me, that helped me remove all the cravings, because I don't crave a piece of fruit after dinner, but if I do say to myself, well, I could use something sweet because I just had really spicy food, they kind of go a little bit together. That piece of fruit really,
Yeah.
settles my
You
stomach.
could
and
have a
settles,
half an apple. You could have, a handful of nuts.
yeah.
You could have whatever.
Well, right now, watermelon is in season. and
Watermelon's great.
It's awesome.
So you can have some, a couple pieces of watermelon.
Yeah,
It's mostly water anyway.
yeah.
A minimum amount of fruit and some fiber.
There's fiber in there
So
too. Yeah.
fiber in fruit slows the absorption of the sugar, and so it net carbs to your body, and it's not the big way up and way down from something like a regular dessert,
Yeah.
like ice cream, cake, candy, cookie, whatever.
Right, right.
So it makes you strong. It makes you think more clearly.
Right.
Makes you more determined, I would hope, to get healthy and to maintain that.
Here's another article that you brought in about lunch and academics.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just read the first paragraph here. The scholastic performance of New York City school children markedly improved after their school lunches were modified to reduce the amounts of sucrose and food additives. And it goes into detail here about BHT and BHA. But, this is the data. This is the clinical part of the equation that we really need to highlight with people, because a lot of people say, there's no proof to that, but here it is, and they've done studies, and this is New York school children.
That was 800,000 kids studied over 4 years. They steadily improved the quality of just lunch. That was 180 lunches per year, the school year.
Uh-huh.
And the grade point average first year went up like 5%.
Wow.
Just from a healthier lunch.
Right.
Then they improved on that lunch once again,
Yep.
second year. The grade point average went up another 5%. So you're talking over 2 years, a 10% improvement in the grade point average for 800,000 kids. Third year, they left it the same as the second year. And the grade point average remained improved 10%.
Now,
Wait.
Go ahead.
Now, the fourth year, they got rid of the BHTs, the BHAs, and certain colorings, which is exactly what Mr. Kennedy, our Secretary of Health and Human Services, all over getting rid of the colors.
Yep.
And the dyes and the this and that they put in they process food with. Up another 6%.
Mm-hmm.
So 800,000 kids in 4 short years, just the 180 lunches.
Yeah.
The net result was 16% better grades. And like I say in one of my signs, no cheating, just better eating.
So this article's from 1987. So
that was probably done in 1982 through 86.
And who was responsible for installing this program?
I have no idea, because they're probably not with us anymore. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
This has long been forgotten.
Did it come through the Board of Education
It
or the
had to
school
be.
system
It
there,
had to
or
be.
did it come from maybe the political,
Well,
system?
somebody stood up and was smart enough to ask to get this done.
Yeah.
It made sense.
Mm-hmm.
They got it funded, and they executed on their plan, and it worked like a charm.
Yeah.
There are other instances of similar things around the country, around juvenile prison systems,
Yeah.
around various people that now are finally, as the glacier moves, coming out on food and behavior, food and addiction, food and all the cravings and all the different ancillary behaviors and isms and issues that arise from allergies and sensitivities. And, so, it's kind of you get what you give.
Yeah, so this program in New York City, was it continued beyond that? Was it continued?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it backslid. Of course, there's huge economic interests in suppressing something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, just pizza alone in this country for school lunches is like a $2 billion deal.
Wow.
Billions and billions and billions of dollars. Just pizza.
Yeah.
And they categorize that as a vegetable.
Yeah.
It's not vegetable. It's garbage.
Yeah.
It's white flour and then sugar in the sauce and then cheese, and cheese creates mucus. And, there's kids all over every city in this country that are hammering mac and cheese and hammering pizza, and they have asthma. And what does cheese and cheese pizza, mac and cheese have? It's sugar and frankenfat. Mm-hmm. And then the dairy product creates mucus. And the mucus clogs up your sinuses and your lungs, and you have asthma, and your pulmonologist never mentions one word about it. Although it's a huge issue in the cities, and no one's paying attention.
Yeah. RFK seems to be making a lot of progress with the food companies, the manufacturers. A lot of them are making changes to their manufacturing process to get rid of those colorings and additives. So it seems like he's got it moving in the right direction.
Well, it's early.
Yes, it is.
It's going to take a lot of time because there's so much money involved.
Right.
You could only imagine feeding this malnourished, gluttonous country.
Right.
And how much money it costs and how much volume of food.
Right.
Like I was walking into a Walmart yesterday, and I saw a nice, probably a Spanish woman, wheeling a cart out, and there had to be 150 pounds of maize, which is corn flour,
Right.
in her cart. 30 little 5-pound bags. I mean, an enormous amount, like it was half the cart.
Yeah.
Okay? And, and then you take that, and what do you do with it? You make tortilla.
Right.
You make tacos. You make all sorts of different things with it. But it's white flour. It's flour. It turns right into sugar.
Yeah.
So, you got this steady carpet bombing of sugar on your body in a kind of a sneaky form of flour.
Yeah.
Same thing with white flour, wheat flour, and all sorts of breads out there that say they're healthy, but they aren't. Like the Wonder Bread, 12 ways.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, what a load,
Yeah.
And, and we've all been taking it hook, line, and sinker for our entire lives.
So what about moderation? How does that fit into it? Because I like a good taco or burrito every once in a while.
I have had tacos and burritos. Not really burritos, but tacos, like a fish taco.
Mm-hmm.
And I will eat as little of the taco itself as I can. I've had wraps before where I'll keep peeling the wrap and trying to eat just the inside of the wrap. Mm-hmm. And when it gets doubled and tripled up at the ends, I just forget it. I'm not eating it.
Yeah.
Or I'll eat an open-faced sandwich and get rid of half of it automatically and eat as little of the bottom part as I can.
Is a wrap as bad as, say, 2 pieces of white bread, or?
It's probably the equivalent, even if it's a spinach one or a whole wheat one or whatever, a whole grain one. It's still processed. It's still pummeled. Yeah. It's still got, shortening. It's still got, various, softeners and whatever's in it,
Yeah, we touched on this on the last podcast, and it's the ultra-processed foods that are getting a bad name these days. And what's happening, what I find is if you go into the health food section of some supermarkets, they have, the healthy granola bars and stuff like that, but they're still ultra processed. So some of those health foods are not really that healthy because of the processing involved in the making the food.
Well, the process and the ingredients. Like if you take those little bars, and you usually have to flip up the wrapper to look underneath the little section to see the ingredients.
Yeah.
And then you start counting the different kinds of sugar in them.
Mm-hmm.
They're like little sugar bombs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're eating a bunch of sugar. And it has all these code names like maltodextrin, like, Florida crystals, like this, that, and the other thing. And you're taking in a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
And then you got the carbohydrate with the grain, because there's usually always grain in those things.
Right.
So you got two kinds of carbohydrate. And so, okay, you feel good. It tastes good because they have to taste good. But, half an hour later, you're like, blood sugar went way up, then it dropped like a rock.
Yeah.
So,
what about the artificial sweeteners like sorbitol and
the less the better.
Yeah.
Remember, you're trying to train your palate away from
Right.
sweet. Even with toothpaste.
yeah.
Even with, various things, you got to watch out. You have to be a food detective
Yeah.
or a sugar detective.
Yeah.
There's something like 300 names for all sorts of different kinds of sugar that they put in processed food in this country. 300.
Wow. So this other article you brought is from 1910.
Right?
And the title is Diseases Due to Sugar Poisoning by George M. Gould, M.D. of Ithaca, New York.
Right?
It predicted problems Americans would have with high sugar refined flour diets.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't had a chance to read all of this, but it seems to be pretty an extensive article. But tell me a little bit about this doctor's research.
Well, from what I got out of the article, and I've read it several times, is that this doctor started noticing that there was a relationship between what people were eating and their behavior and their different symptoms and diseases and challenges they had physically and mentally. So I think he started in 1880, 145 years ago, learning about this subject and learning about how to treat his charges with, maybe it's the sugar, let's experiment. So he took 30 years to become sugar literate and started getting good at how to describe what needs to be done to straighten out these problems, which is get rid of the sugar, get rid of the white flour, the white rice, and whatever, refined carb the kids and the adults were consuming.
Yeah.
And so he got good at it. He started doing it, and he started getting tremendous results.
Yeah.
Like the symptoms the kids were suffering from just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, he says in this article, he talks about patients with epilepsy and how they were connected to an exaggerated diet of sugary foods. Exaggerated, so,
Sure.
yeah, sugar bombs.
So they could have been, even back then, putting away a pound of sugar a day, and it would not be cheap.
Yeah.
But that's mixed into, cakes and cookies and candy and ice cream
Yeah.
and whatever it was
Yeah,
at this day. And this is a long time ago.
yeah,
So maybe it was only half a pound of sugar a day. But it was, it was an ounce, not much before that, and it wasn't an issue.
mm-hmm.
28 grams. But when it bounced up to a quarter pound, half a pound, and then the white flour that turns into sugar, it started being a big issue.
Yeah,
And a lot of people reacted to it.
yeah,
They had allergic reactions. They had behavioral reactions. They had physical reactions. So,
yeah. So sugar affects probably pretty much every internal organ in your body.
it does.
Your stomach, your kidneys, your liver,
No,
your
it's
brain.
not just organs. It's every cell in your body.
Mm.
Billions and billions and even trillions of cells in your body are literally in sugar shock, where you're overloaded, and then your pancreas, your adrenal, your liver, your various organs and your sugar metabolism are all like backpedaling, trying to somehow keep it straight and keep it normal, and it can only take so much abuse. Our human bodies are tremendous as far as resilience and able to deal with insults. But after a while, you start, feeling your oats.
I see at the end of this article there are comments by Barbara Stitt, and we'll talk about her in a minute. But she says it is amazing that Dr. Gould described hyperactivity and attention deficit disorder so accurately 86 years ago.
Right.
The refining of wheat flour had only reached the U.S. in the late 1800s. That's really interesting.
Dude, this is the basis for enormous amounts of issues and challenges that we have physically and mentally in this country.
Yeah.
The basis for it, the cause and effect deal. It's not hard to understand.
Yeah. So is there a necessity when we have populations like there's over 300 million people in the United States, there's how many billions in China? You have a large populations that require large amounts of food. So to refine the wheat and the grains and process it so it lasts longer and it can be distributed easier out to other far reaches of the country is probably an economic decision at some point, because we get the nutrition out there, but it's not real nutrition that's going out there. It's
basically filling up cubic inches in your stomach, so that you don't feel hungry.
So I'm wondering if the refinement and the ultra processing of these foods was partly driven by the population growth.
Absolutely, because they had they want shelf life, they don't want spoilage, so that's the first rule in the food industry. And they invented preservatives something like 80 years ago. Salt, they knew about salt, they knew about sugar way back when. Sugar helped drive slavery, 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago. And it's back taking in its prisoners as usual, or I say as usual. Once again, we're getting beat up by the same old thing. And it's marketed to us with some, this is like hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, could you imagine the amount or the numbers of well-oiled marketing pros that are spending their lives marketing food and junk food and sugar to the public. And they make a profit. Everybody makes a profit. Oh, we got to take care of our shareholders. Oh, my God. It's all about the shareholders, not us. And they're all sitting there at the trough, kind of eating like pigs. And other people are going down, and they don't really care.
No. That's a big problem.
Not care.
Yeah. What do you think about this guy running for mayor of New York, how he wants to bring in city-run supermarkets to keep the food prices lower?
To be honest with you, I don't use this word often. He's a jackass. He thinks, who's going to pay for free food, free rent, free this, free that?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for all that? How's that going to work? How's that going to be regulated? How's that going to be distributed? How are you going to keep paying for it after they get used to getting free food?
Well, I think
that's impossible.
He wants to gang up with AOC and some of the other left-wing politicians to tax the rich. That's the solution.
He's smoking crack.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And if he's promising that, he's lying to the public.
But the phenomena is pretty amazing, where you see the support he has. He's leading in all the polls, and a lot
because everybody wants free everything.
Well,
and it's not happening.
And a lot of them are the younger people who are struggling to make ends meet these days. It's the Reds
they got money
particular.
They got money to travel. They all got money for vaping. They all have phones, and a lot of them say they want to work, but they really don't like they want.
Yeah.
Ambition is at an all new low.
All right, we should steer away from this topic because we could go around and around with this.
It's rough.
Yeah, it is.
It's rough. It's painful.
But so let's talk about Barbara Stitt and
Okay.
your connection and her book, number one, because
Sure.
I've read a lot of that book. I haven't read the entire book, but it's, we just did a quick search on Google and found that the book is still available. You can have it on Amazon and eBay. I don't believe it's
Well,
in
I have it.
publication now,
I
but
have it available.
you have it available. Okay.
I can get copies of it to various people. I usually get a $15 donation.
Okay.
It's on Amazon for $25, and it's a used copy. I have a new one for
Okay.
$15.
Okay. Well, that's a good alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what's in the book and what
Well, the book
people would be interested in reading.
the book Barbara wrote describes a whole bunch of different things related to her being a probation officer.
Mm-hmm.
Early in her career, in the early 70s, she discovered she had a bad diet. She was suffering from a variety of symptoms that were uncomfortable.
Mm.
She learned about nutrition, handled herself, subsequently got a degree in nutrition, and started applying nutrition to her charges, to her probationees. She winds up being the head probation officer in her city, and she winds up doing so well with her charges that she writes the book. She has another book I have outside called The Nutritional Guidelines for Correcting Behavior.
Mm.
So she would be standing in front of the judge. The judge would say or stipulate, you have to do what Barbara tells you about the nutrition and follow the program. And I will give you this one last chance. Otherwise, you've got to go do your time.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to jail. And you're probably not going to like that. So Barbara, being this wonderful, sweet lady from the Midwest, has the programs between the book and the other book I described, and makes it relatively simple for these charges, these first and second, offenders, adults and juveniles, to follow the program. And 89% never went back in front of a judge.
Wow.
Normally, you have anywhere from 50 to 75% back in front of the same judge within 2 years, doing like 5 stupid things and getting caught for 1.
Yeah.
So this more than flipped all the bad statistics upside down by getting those people in a program with Barbara, healthy food, daily exercise, eliminate what I call the obvious insults, the coffee, the sugar, the cigarettes, the alcohol, obviously, the drugs, obviously, and regular exercise. Like, be nice to your own body. Take care of yourself. And the behavior and the isms and the problems almost disappear. Not 100%, but in her case, 90%.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. This is not rocket science. This is a proven thing.
Mm-hmm.
When this gets sunlight and water, it changes behavior. Changing behavior is the holy grail. How do we foster positive behavioral changes?
Yeah.
That's the holy grail.
Yeah. And it's not just violence and crime. It's depression. It's
Irritability,
bipolar. A
anxiety,
lot of those can be
Yeah.
helped
Sure.
through proper diet. Yeah.
It's the list, that next list you're going to get into right there.
Yeah.
That's a blood glucose disorder checklist.
And where did this come from?
That came from Dr. Pavo Arola, who was the world foremost on blood sugar disorders or hypoglycemia back in the 80s. And it hasn't changed a bit, just like it hasn't changed from Dr. Gould in 1910.
Yeah, just to,
Not even a little.
there's so many.
It's just gotten worse, actually.
There are so many disorders here: exhaustion, depression, insomnia, anxiety, irritability, headaches, vertigo, sweating, tremor, heart palpitations, muscle pain, crying spells, anorexia, suicidal tendencies, chronic indigestion, mental confusion, cold hands and feet, blurred vision, muscular twitching or cramps, joint pain, unsocial and antisocial behaviors, restlessness, obesity, staggering, abdominal spasms, fainting or blackouts, convulsions, phobias, difficulty in concentration. And that's just one half of this list. I mean, it's just...
So could you imagine, John, if I was sitting there poking you in the chest all day long?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know where you were getting poked, but you were getting poked. You were feeling pretty crummy all day long. And this is normal for you to get poked. Mm-hmm. It's almost like your mom pops you on the chin and your father slugs you in the stomach.
Yeah.
Every day. You'd wake up tomorrow morning. Where is it? That's all I know.
Yeah, it starts to feel normal.
Right. And so I believe, and I'm going to go deep now with the audience and say that I believe most of the public, like myself, like everybody we know, are malnourished. It depends on to what degree. Mm-hmm. There is no perfect nutrition. So that said, then you have the fact, I believe it's a fact, it's a hell of a theory, that people are very uncomfortable or downright miserable, and so they're constantly looking for a behavioral or a biochemical distraction or a vacation from feeling crappy. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And so this is like, have you ever seen a ferret go through a room? Okay, it's a cute, cuddly little critter. You know, they're adorable. They smell a little bit, but they're really cool little pets. Mm-hmm. But if they get loose, all the toilet paper's off the roll, all the plants are turned over, the stuffing's coming out of the couch, okay, and they tear it up looking for homeostasis, looking for something amusing, looking for a purpose or something to have fun or something.
Yeah.
And I think that's similar to people, except they're looking for chemistry and behavior. They're looking for whether it be sugar, whether it be a cigarette, which I call sugarettes because the active ingredient is sugar in a cigarette, in vaping, which I think are worse than cigarettes.
Yeah.
And coffee. A lot of people cannot function without a couple cups of coffee. And caffeine's a powerful stimulant.
Yes.
A lot of people can't function, and if they don't get it, they've got a headache.
Yeah.
Same day, same morning, same this is that. I can't do it. I got to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
It's that addictive and that stimulative and that, rough on your body and your brain.
Yeah.
So, the sugar, the coffee, the cigarettes, the this and different things. I mean, this is how America was built. Everybody's got a cigarette hanging out of their mouth, And back when it was like, you can't fly on one wing, belly up to the bar, choose your poison. What'll I have? Well, I'll have an old-fashioned. That's old-fashioned. That's classic. That's like the way it should be. And that's like a sugar bomb. A couple of those and you're orbiting the moon. And then they would say, I'm feeling no pain.
All right.
And this is how what you and I saw as kids growing up in this country.
Yeah.
That's how everybody used to do it. And they're all smoking and they're all drinking. And it's procedure. It still is like that. A little bit less, but still really bad.
Yeah.
And then the food's gone downhill. So now we're suffering even more malnutrition from the poor quality food.
Yeah. I think during the war, World War II in particular, I don't know about World War I, but they gave, it was part of their rations were packs of cigarettes to the soldiers. And
sure.
It was like, I always used to think, well, dying of lung cancer is not your biggest concern. It's dying from that bullet that's got your name on it. So their attitude was like, with smoking was like everybody smoked.
Right.
It was very fashionable. I mean, if you look at Hollywood movies from that era,
There were doctors doing commercials about how cigarettes are wonderful for you.
Oh,
No problem.
well, that's the
Or Old Gold's,
the tobacco
the
companies.
throat soothing
Right,
cigarette.
right.
Like, yeah, right. And the corporate puffery is off the chart. It
Yeah.
always has been.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to sell something.
Right,
And how much of that sales is good for you?
right.
You're what, 2%? 5%? I'm trying to be generous. Rest of it's just garbage.
Yeah.
So we have to be the food detectives. We have to have some effort and energy to understand how this affects us and make better choices.
Yep. Okay, we're moving along here. This one is a very large article. Do you want to summarize that article for us? Because
Well, this is an article done in London called "Sugar's Bitter Harvest," where in England they're finally writing about it, about how there's just an amazing amount of young assailants and young people that are doing all sorts of bad stuff. They're doing arsons, they're doing murders, they're doing muggings, they're doing this, that, and the other thing. And it's bad news. And they're 17 to 15 years old.
mm-hmm.
They're young, and they're doing all this stuff. So and then they notice that most all of them have horrid diets that are loaded with sugar. And then you wind up with all these different crimes. And Barbara Stitt is mentioned in here because she was doing this, one of the first ones that really looking at it back in 1970
Mm-hmm.
and providing information about it, that there is this unbelievable relationship between sugar and aggression and violence, just like the study said that they did in England. There's Barbara's book, Food and Behavior, where she turned the numbers upside down. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. That what's going on out there, and people are still not paying attention because the food lobbies, the sugar associations, and big processing plants all over the country are spending billions of dollars to carpet bomb us with misinformation and paint this glorious picture about how all this stuff is wonderful and we deserve it.
Yeah. So Barbara Stitt was she affiliated with any governing organizations or funding organizations, or did she do that all on her own?
She did it all on her own.
So in the course of her work as a probation officer, did she have resistance from the administrators or the higher ups in her office, or did she have support?
Well, remember, this is the Midwest.
Right.
Okay? There wasn't the staunch conservative attitude and focus on money that we call normal around Connecticut and New York and New Jersey and Mass. It was about people more than money.
Mm-hmm.
And so she got less grief about it. She proved what she was doing. She did a 5-year study with 1,100 adults and juveniles, first and second offenders, standing next to her in front of the judge. And she did her thing, and 89% never went back in front of a judge. Nobody could say that.
Right.
There is no probation department that could even hold a candle to that.
Mm.
And nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to be irresponsible. Nobody wants to, look at that, nor do they want to spend any extra money, at least not in this country, on feeding people in the system higher quality food.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
You should see the garbage that they eat, and you should see what's available in the commissaries and prisons. Almost all of it's garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Very few things, because you can't have a shelf life on an apple. They don't have refrigerators in their cells.
Right.
So they have to have, like the big deal is the ramen noodles, and that's not good for you.
Yeah.
Just ramen noodles, hot water, and there you go.
Right.
And, they're, again, filling cubic inches in their stomach with something so they don't feel hungry.
Right.
God bless them. That's, they're kind of stuck because they painted themselves in a corner doing crimes.
Right.
So
they're not getting the nutrition.
no. And so there are guys going into like Connecticut state prisons that go in at 200 pounds and come out at 500 pounds.
Wow.
And then we have to pay for their isms and their problems and their issues in an ongoing way. And then, there's a lot of methadone and Suboxone being almost pushed on prisoners because they want to subdue their behaviors when they get out. So, here's your methadone. We're going to keep you nice and mellow.
Okay.
We're going to feed you this stuff. Will sedate you. You feel okay. Blah, 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 blah. I've heard stories. I don't want to get into them because I don't want to start with the Department of Corrections.
Right.
But it's not good.
No.
We could do a whole lot better. I've made various, pleadings and proposals to the Department of Corrections, and they've see ya. Too bad.
Yeah. Has anybody continued to work on that level?
Beside me, I don't know. And I'm just a lowly, social worker.
Yeah.
Trying to help educate people and trying to do something with podcasts like this to get more people to say, hey, how about that?
Yeah.
That made sense to me.
Yeah.
Maybe he's onto something. You know how many times I've heard that in my life?
Yeah. Well,
But do people take it seriously around here? Like one friend of mine used to say, it's so conservative around Lower Connecticut. It's like living right next to a cemetery. Shh,
Yeah.
you don't want to disturb them.
well, it would be nice to catch the attention of maybe Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I would love to go work
and
for
get a
him.
grant
Yeah.
to run a program in the
Oh, I want to go to Washington.
system up
and
here.
I want to go work for him directly with policy.
Yeah.
I would like to do innovation and policy
Yeah.
for health and human services.
Well, I think it's more promising. The future is more promising than it's been in a long time. So
Yeah, it is with Kennedy.
Yeah.
That's like a wonderful thing that Trump did,
Yeah.
is work out a deal with him and let him have at it.
Mm.
And it's giving our kids maybe a 15% chance of a decent life instead of 10%.
Yeah.
I'd like to think more, but if he could implement more policy, the kids having a decent life, their percentage goes up accordingly in small increments, nice and slow. But it's possible. And I'm hoping and praying that there are possibilities like that.
Okay. So good. That's good. We have about a minute left. Is there anything that you'd like to add as far as your website or contact information if people are interested in getting more information?
Right now, I have my phone number. I know it's a little, archaic, but 203-981-3222.
Okay.
You
And
can
we'll have
call-
Jose put that on the post.
You can call or text me, and I will get back to you. I call back and take care of business. And there's books available for a $15 donation.
Mm-hmm.
I can meet you or send them in the mail. I have signs, upwards of 500 signs about behavior and isms and nutrition and, why we should be paying attention to things like hydration.
Mm-hmm.
Just drink water and be grateful.
Yeah.
Simple stuff.
It would be nice to get a sponsorship and have one of those running on the electric billboard on 95 every once in a while.
Oh, it would be wonderful. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Just something stupid,
Trying to
simple.
grab attention.
Like just some
the
stupid,
conversation
simple,
going.
like please don't love your grandkids with sugar.
Yeah.
Something simple.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's all.
So
Anything. Let's get started.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming and informing us and enlightening us in your mission. And I think it's a valid one. And thank you, people at home, for tuning in. And if you want more information, they'll be at the bottom of the screen and at the end of this show. And thank you for watching.
Thank you for your consideration.
Take care.